Hi everybody, this is Em from DIYM. Today we're kind of doing a project that I've sort of already done before. I'm doing a brownie box, but this is something that I hadn't done before. Brownie decorations you can hang on pretty much anything, but obviously if you wanted to hang this on a tree or something like that, that's always really fun. I have a sweets tree I'll show you later in this video, and all the other decorations and stuff I have on it. I have other brownie ones that I've done in the past, but these are the ones that we make in this video. There's specific things here. I just wanted to show you guys that. And I don't know, I think this is gonna be a long video, so I'm just going to go to what you need for this video. The things for this video you will most likely need are sponges. So I like to get these kind of sponges. They're different colors, blue, yellow, pink, and green. You can use rainbow cake stuff as well. So you definitely need paint. I like to use, this one's almost done because I used it throughout this video. You're definitely gonna need some burnt umber. You might need a lot of burnt umber just because the sponges, when you paint them, absorb a lot of the paint. Keep that in mind. To cut the sponges, I used some really sharp scissors, but you can also use a box cutter, craft knife, X-Acto knife, whatever you want to call it. Okay, Mod Podge, Dimensional Magic. You can potentially use this as well. You're also going to need some sort of string. It doesn't have to be this specifically, but I like to get different colors of baker's twine. So there's that. You might want to get some small safety pins, some lightweight spackle to make the icing, or whipped cream, Mod Podge, and mix it with this burnt umber to make it look like chocolate sauce. Now, to decorate, you can use some popsicle sticks, spatula, an old or cheapy one from the dollar store. You can also use a palette knife to spread out the spackle to make it look like icing. You might need I think it's like an open star tip and piping bag. You can also get things that look like cherries. There's actual red cherries too. I have some in here. You can put that on top. You can also use this to make it look like cherries for making the smaller brownies. Fake strawberries. I also have berries I've made in another video with hot glue. You can get all sorts of sprinkles. These are clay sprinkles. They're not edible. So there's resin sprinkles, all sorts of stuff. These ones I think are clay as well. These are also clay. Star shapes. You can get stuff like this. They look like candy. You can get so many things. It's crazy. You can check out my chocolate shaving video and you can make sort of chocolate shavings. You can put gold flakes. If you don't feel like making chocolate sauce, you can get some puffy paints, some brown for chocolate, or you can get all sorts of different colors depending. Maybe you just want icing or something. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff that you can use for the top of these brownies. I'll show you later on in this video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. On to the project. So as you guys know, I made brownie boxes in another video. I just figured it was high time that I showed you how to do the whole thing because I sort of explained it and then partially showed you how to make this, more how to decorate it, I guess. So I wanted to show you how to make the whole thing. So what I like to do is get cellulose sponges. So there's 24 sponges, I guess, in here. I got these online, I believe on Amazon. I also got this idea from the Pink Tree. I'll try to link her down below. So these are, you can feel them, they're a little wet. I've had these for years. I opened them up and I put most of them in a freezer bag like this just to make sure that they don't dry out, because they dry out. I also have a very small jewelry box. So I like to get green. You can get whatever color you want. You can even, if you want to make pink brownies, or you can make yellow blondies, strawberry cake brownies, or square. If you do that, you don't have to paint it, which is great. But what I like to do is I get brown paint. So this is actually burnt umber acrylic. So you can get any kind of acrylic. I find that student grade is kind of the cheaper stuff. So I always try to recommend burnt umber for the chocolate look. This is a very small box, a little tiny jewelry box. I'll measure how big this is. So the lid is about just a little over 2.5 inches by, again, just a little over 1 3/4 of an inch. Okay. And then the bottom part is just a little over 1 2/4 inches. I think it is. Oh, so bad with measurements. Sorry. My bad. And then this one's actually around 2.5 inches. Just a little bit under actually. Okay. Just so it'll help you guys get something like this online if you can find it. I have a difficult time finding boxes this size. I actually found these so many years ago and I have a whole bunch of them. I used to work at a store for packaging. Yeah, they were getting rid of a bunch of these guys. So they're about 1 inch or so in height if you have the box lid on. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to take both the top and the bottom off for this. Okay, so I like to do that, and then I like to get some sharp scissors, but you can totally get an X-Acto knife or something along those lines. I just find that this is easier to cut with. These are embroidery scissors, and that's okay if you get a rough edge. That's not that big of a deal. It kind of makes it look more like a brownie, right? If you have a bit of a rough edge happening. What you could do is you could potentially get a box cutter and just go all the way around, but just watch your fingers when you're doing this sort of thing. But I like to sort of snip right into the material and go right around the box itself, right into the sponge. Okay, and this is probably going to create a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. I'm not going to go all the way. I'm just going to cut into it as much as I can and as closely as I can to the box shape. That's going to be important. We're going to cut it all the way through. Okay, so then try to cut it again. Watch your fingers. Try to cut it right to the other side. And if you want, you can use an X-Acto knife for this, but it doesn't really matter because, again, the messier the better, because then it looks more realistic. It looks more like a real item of food, like a cake or a brownie. Obviously, we're doing a brownie in this circumstance. And I have done it where I cut it with an X-Acto knife first, and then I go all the way through with my scissors. So yeah, as you can see, I kind of got all the way through here. I'm going to go all the way around. Don't worry too much about this. All this material. We're just going to throw out this stuff down here. The thing that I caution you guys with is try not to stretch it too much and try not to hurt yourself. So be very careful if you can. Hopefully I heed my own advice in this. So it's coming out. I'm trying not to mess up the middle part, as you probably noticed, right? Okay, it's almost out. It's almost out. We just gotta snip some bits here. There we go. Okay, so that guy's out. You can snip off a little bit of this stuff or just pull it off. Try not to pull it too hard. If you can help it, you want to keep its shape a little bit. If this is looking kind of wonky, you might want to snip that a little bit off. Just a smidge. Okay, so yeah, this is a bit of a messy project, but so what I like to do is I like to sort of stretch this over top. Not too much. Don't stretch it to the point of breaking it if you can. I mean, even if you do break it, it's fine, you can just glue it. But I like to try to kind of align it with the bottom of the box. If you want to, you can paint the bottom of the box, but you don't have to necessarily do that. Okay, so that guy's in there. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to put this aside. First, I'm going to trim this up a little bit. This is a really fun project if you like making fake food. Fake baking, as some people like to call it. But yeah, I'm trying to make it like a little tiny sponge. Okay, so I'm gonna do something with that later. Put that aside for just a second, and I will be gluing this down. Do not worry about that. So I'm gonna do the same thing. So this one might be a little bit harder to do because it's gonna be thinner here and here. So try to give it as much room and space as you possibly can before you start going. Because this is the lid, so it's gonna need a lot more room. And this brownie, when you put the lid on, may not match up fully. That's okay. Again, it's just gonna look like it's been cut up. Because brownies don't always look perfect when they're cut, right? Unless you really know how to make an amazingly perfect brownie. It's very rare. Okay, so as you can see here, I made a bit of a line. Now we do exactly what we did on the other side. Try to keep this guy free. So when you make these brownie boxes, you can do another project, which is awesome, I think. I love that. Whoopsies. Did I get through? It's really hard to do this sometimes, but just be patient, take your time. Try not to stab yourself because that can happen. Want to make sure that everything's kind of separated here. Okay, before I turn around and get this part. You can just do this in layers and just go deeper and deeper if you need to, okay? Until you get to the other side, right? And then you can snip along there. And I like to sort of turn the corner, try to see if I can get down in there without trying to break it, if that's possible. When it's in this wet state, it's a lot easier to not break it, but when it gets into almost like a hardened state, it gets a lot crumblier. So when this is left out, it actually hardens quite a bit and almost like shrivels up a bit. I think that's just what happens when you put the paint and stuff on it, because sponges aren't supposed to last forever. They're supposed to be tossed eventually. As I love making these for people, especially if I'm going to put jewelry or something tiny and small. You can even put little candies in here, probably Starburst or Hershey Kisses, something fun. As long as it's wrapped, I think it should be fine, whatever the candy is, so it's food safe. Okay, looking good, but we still have to free this corner. But yeah, just take your time, be patient with this, because this can be a little bit frustrating to do this project sometimes. Okay, that side's free. This side, almost free. See if I can do it from this side. Same with this side. Can I do this? Let's free it. Yeah, I freed it. Okay, cool. So now we've got 2 brownies. I'm just going to clean this guy up here. It's going to be kind of therapeutic though, just trying to make it look kind of more rectangular and sponge-like. Okay, and then I can just lose myself in this forever. Clean up these edges a little bit, just so it's a little easier to glue down. Okay, let's get this stuff out of here. You can always do this on a surface like a piece of paper or something too, and then it's a little easier to just clean this part up. And then you can just take the piece of paper and dump it in the trash. It's always a faster way of doing things, which I didn't do, but so let's see if I can do this without breaking it, because that can sometimes be the hardest part. Just stretch this over. So try to do it as close as possible. Okay, seems to be doing it. So what I like to do too is try to go right to the edge of the lid, right, if I can. Because what I like to do is put some icing, so this is like an icing brownie, so I like to put the icing on top of the lid. The bottom, it doesn't really matter normally, you can paint it the same colors as if you'd like, but what I tend to do is normally leave that blank. I'm just going to glue a bunch of this stuff down, so you can use hot glue. I like to take some liquid glue. Okay, so I like to get some Mod Podge Dimensional Magic. Sometimes it doesn't come out immediately, so I try to get like a needle or something that will release this glue. So I often like to take the needle from the Barely Arts glue and do that, and then wipe it off, make sure it's wiped down. But anyways, so what I like to do, because again, you can hot glue this, but there's a lot of hot glue strings that kind of wind up with this stuff. So I'm just gluing this down like that. And it's pretty tight on, but you want it to be glued down. Get it down in there. I don't like to go right to the bottom, but at least kind of at the top here. You can even get some elastics or something and clip it down, but I don't think it's really necessary if it's tight against it. And then I like to wipe off this part. This is a water-based glue. It's very resin-like when it dries, very shiny and stuff, but yeah, it works and does a trick. So I'm going to put this off to the side to dry for now. Okay, so what I'm about to do is kind of unorthodox. As you know, I like to use this for lots of different things. So I'm going to make these into brownie ornaments, okay? This is what you can do with a leftover box part. So what I like to do first is I'm just going to get some small ones. I've got all sorts of safety pins here. You can get, doesn't matter what color or size. Actually, better to get smaller ones probably, because you don't want them to show through in the end. I got these, they're kind of not the best, but they do the trick for this particular thing. So you can get whatever. I'm going to do pink. I'm going to make this part the ornament hanger. So you can make this as long or as short as you want. So I'm just going to tie a knot. This is such a waxy string, baker's twine, to work with. I'm just going to cut that off a little bit. And then I'm going to take this. This is going to make it easier to paint too, I find. Put it through the middle, right here. And then, it doesn't matter how you hang it, but I'm going to put it this way. Stab it through. And safety pin this guy on. So this is just a temporary fix, but you will see in the end, we're going to cover this up. It'll be all good once we're done here. Okay, let's see. Maybe I'll do yellow. Orange I'll keep for Halloween-y sort of projects. And you can always make this a Halloween-y thing to hang if you want to, because Halloween and candy go hand in hand. They're like this. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. As long as this can hang on something, like a tree branch or something like that. It doesn't really matter how long you really make it, as long as it can hang on something. Should be fine. Okay, I'm gonna cut these guys down. And you can hot glue this on too, if you want to make it really stable and easy to work with. But yeah, you really don't have to do that. Alright, so this, you'll see this a little later, why it doesn't matter that I put some of these guys in. They will be covered up. Alright, so I'm going to take, you can take any brush you want. It could be flat brush, rounder, could be whatever. It always helps to get something that can get in the crevices sometimes. I'm gonna see what I can do. But yeah, so I'm gonna use this. I'm just gonna work on this side for now. I like to put a generous amount on here and then just sort of work it in. Try to work it into the crevices. If you put a generous amount on, then it's a little easier to get in the crevices. I still got some stuff on me, but you can hold on to this pin, the safety pin. Try not to stab yourself in the process, but you can try to hold on to the safety pin for now while you're painting the edges. It absorbs so much of the paint, so don't be shocked by that. Really get it in there. Yeah, if you can find a color that looks better with this, the yellow might look nice too. You can cover up any of the colors if you really wanted to. But I feel like you don't really see a lot of mint brownies or mint cakes or anything like that, like green colors, so I prefer taking the green one and turning it a brown shade. Even the blue you can do that with. I find the blue is really pretty too, but even the blue you can do that with. Look at that, it's starting to look like a brownie quite a bit already, right? But yeah, you can, before you put it down to dry, look around. And again, it's fine if it's along the edge. You can always fix that later when you paint the other side. But look around and see if there's spots that look like they need a little bit more touching up. Maybe you got some green spots and stuff here and there. Most people will probably not notice this. Yeah, you can give this to kids if they're older, as long as they know that this is fake food and they can't eat this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that down. I might actually do this one too, but I'm going to wash up this brush when I'm done, and then I'll wash my hands off. But yeah, that's basically that for now, and then I'll show you the rest of that later. Okay, so it looks like most of this is dried. There are some green patches. I'm probably just going to patch those up later, but I just kind of want to do the top part. You don't have to do the whole top, but I kind of do want to do at least most of it. So one thing that I should probably state is you might need a lot of brown paint when you're doing this project, because the paint is absorbed a lot into the sponges. And try your hardest if you can to not get brown paint on this guy. I know it's definitely a hard ask, but yeah. Do your best. Whatever your best is, you can try. Okay, so I'm just gonna move these over to dry and see what I can do for the boxes. Okay, so the box seems to be pretty glued on here. Can't really seem to shake it. I just want to make sure that you can put it together, and it kind of looks okay. What you could do if you want to, you can sort of trim things. This looks pretty good lined up there. Just gonna double check. Actually, it doesn't look too bad when you put it on like that. I might just trim up a little bit here. You don't have to do this, but if you want to make it look a little more even, you can definitely do that. Okay. And it's okay if you get paint on the box itself. We're pretty much going to cover that up with some icing. Some faux icing, basically. So we'll make that out of spackle. It's easy. It's easy to get paint on yourself, and try not to get it on the box on the white part if you can. I know that that's kind of a hard ask sometimes, but I mean, if it does get on there inside, it's not the end of the world either. You can always, probably shouldn't paint the inside, but you could probably glue some sort of paper or something down on the inside, some sort of fancy paper, and that would probably be fine as well. Yeah, it looks super chocolatey. My husband wanted to eat it. He wanted to eat the little ornaments that I made. Anyways, this guy's set to dry a little bit. Alright, so this guy might be a little harder to do. I got paint all over my hands. Yeah, if you want to, you can paint this whole bottom, but you definitely do not have to do that. So this is the bottom of the box right here. Yeah, you can even paint the box itself if you want. Probably not the best move though, because you might be gluing things together, so I might actually just take that off in a second, because acrylic can act like a bit of a glue sometimes. If you can avoid that, try to do the same. So yeah, I would say you could totally paint the bottom if you want to. It's not going to make too much of a difference either way, if you do or not. But if somebody flips it over, at least they can see it looks more brownie-like. I kind of want something to hold on to though that's not painted. Can I do this? Oops. Oh no. Oh shoot. Okay. I have to wash this immediately. This is not that big of a deal. I can just turn this around. But yeah, if you get stuff on places that you don't want it, try to wipe it off as soon as you can while it's still wet, but it's not the end of the world at the same time. If you want to make sure you're not painting certain things, you can always put some green painter's tape in there. So this can be a long painting process, but honestly, if you like painting things, it's pretty straightforward and easy and kind of fun to do and therapeutic if you're into that sort of thing. If you don't like painting and crafting, I don't know why you're watching my channel, but maybe you're trying to do something for the first time, I guess, who knows. This is probably the part where I can paint the back, because I'm going to let it dry upside down overnight. I'm just going to leave that upside down. hopefully I'll see you guys in the morning. So I've done quite a few coats already on this. There's still a little bit of green showing. It's very difficult to get it to not show, but I tried to do my best at least to get the green away from the sides and the bottom. It's very difficult though. For most of it, if it was really showing, I would just take a small brush like this and I would just try to really get in the crevices with some blobs of paint and just spread it around as much as I could if it was too blobby. But yeah, so it's not exactly easy, but it's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ice these guys. Hopefully my spackle looks okay. I try to get a lightweight spackle. There's bigger ones. I have really big ones as well, but I think there's even bigger than this. So this one looks like it's dried out because I did this quite a few years ago and it's probably been in some cold, so I'm just going to add a little touch of water. I don't want to overwhelm it though. I'm just going to add a little touch of water. I don't know where my spreaders have gone, so I'm just going to mix it up. And you can add some paint. This is what I did. I just added some of the burnt umber paint originally to this. This is just regular white. And if you want to make white icing, it depends on if you want an antique white. I think you add a little bit of yellow to it. If you want different colors, I think you add more fluorescent tones to make things almost look brighter. If you want specific pastel colors. Anyways, this is so lightweight. This is actually pretty easy to spread on. It does feel like a very nice light icing. I'm just going to grab some fun sprinkles and stuff to decorate this stuff with. We have stuff like this. Oops, this just came right out. Also have jelly beans. I don't know if I want to put that on them though, but that's always a cool option. Well, one came out, so clearly it wants to be on there. Also have little gumdrops. These are all made with resin. They look like they have sugar on top. If you want, you can add more sugar on top in case you don't have any sugar on top you can add very white or clear sand, or you can also there's nice fine glitter if you like that sort of thing. I've seen a lot of the fake bakers do that a little bit. I don't really know if I want to do a star. You can do gummy bears on top. That might be fun actually. Let's do some gummy bears. Put that little hat on. I love this hat. It's so cute. Also have these really beautiful hearts. They're a nice gradient ombre, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that either. I have regular hearts as well. They don't really have an ombre, but these stars as well. They're a little different in color. So yeah, I'm gonna do those guys for some of the toppers. You can really play and do all sorts of stuff so that you can get little sprinkles. These candies, those would be nice as a topper as well. They're kind of fun. I have made these in another video. I'll try to link that down below, but it's little berries that I made out of colored hot glue sticks. Then there's this confetti sprinkles. I've already put these guys on things before and I will show you the result of that because I don't think I'm going to do that in this particular video, but you can unwind these wreath berries and they look like little cherries. If you want to, you can paint this green or you can just leave the stem as is. Snip it with some sort of wire cutter and then you can add it on top and it'll look like a tiny little cherry. It's especially really cute for mini ornaments. You can also use larger size cherries for the big box if you like as well, but I'm not going to go there. So this is the fun part. So what you do is you take this. So you find out what the top is, obviously, right? So this guy is the top here. This is the bottom. Spread this out. Hopefully it's nice and pliable and you can get right to the edge too. And you can do this with a spatula as well. I have spatulas. I just don't know where they went to right now. Somewhere around. Just try to make it look like there's not a box underneath there. They just look like they're an iced brownie. So you can get kind of as messy as you want. The best is if you get some sort of texture happening, like it looks like you made them homemade brownies. I always thought it would be really cute to do an actual brownie party and you get a whole bunch of toppings, kind of like what I'm putting on here just to make it look fancy. You can get actual candies, whipped cream, sprinkles, and so you can ice things if you want to, or you can have them plain, whatever you'd like to do. But you can even have ice cream if you want to put on top. So basically I just wanted to make this all iced. You can smooth it out as much as you want. You can make it as textured as you want. I'm just trying to kind of make it so that this part's covered up so you don't really see that part of the box. But this kind of makes it look more, this top looks like a thin brownie, but I think it's really cute. Right? Doesn't that look like a brownie? It's so cute. Alright, so I'm going to put that back in there for now. So I'm not going to do anything with the bottom. If you want, you can paint the bottom, but you're going to see the bottom. It's going to be the dead giveaway that it's not an actual brownie. So you can actually turn that over and show somebody in case they think, oh wow, you're handing me a brownie. Awesome. So what you do, you can add whatever you'd like. You can add some star confetti. I'm just going to add a few of these sprinkles. Actually, that's probably going to be covered up with some whipped cream, so I'm going to move that over. You can always just do the outside of this, but make sure you sort of spread it out and immerse. Try not to get that on you, the chocolate, if you can. So I'm just gonna leave that aside for a second because I want to ice these guys. I like these star ones. I think those are cute. So I'm gonna put this aside for just a second. Ornaments. So the nice thing about this is you can hold on to this, but I would say press it down a little bit. It's a really fun activity for Christmas time if you like to make ornaments. Okay, so there's that guy. I might just fix this guy up a little bit. It's really hard to get the icing right on this pin. I should have probably pinned it this way because maybe it would have been a little easier to ice the sides. While they're still wet, I will sprinkle on these stars. And you can do the same thing that you did with this. Sprinkle, and then if you need to place specific colors, you can do that. Let that dry a bit. Move that over. These ones are a little smaller, so I'm just going to sprinkle that on. Just really press them in there. Okay. I'm gonna let this dry. Put the lid back on this guy. I'll try to conserve that as much as I can. And then I'm going to come on and do the whipped cream and then add these toppings afterwards. Okay, so that's the next step. Okay, so I think in my cake video, I've shown how you guys can mix the white spackle with titanium white paint. Mix that together, and it normally is a pretty good consistency. You can add a little water if you'd like it to be a little bit smoother. It really depends on how much you add. But yeah, I've done another video on that. I also did, from what I remember when I did a bunch of cakes and I did a bonus brownie. I did the chocolate sauce, which I also did in another video. It's basically Mod Podge and just burnt umber, brown paint. So you just mix 1-to-1 ratios. I think I had maybe a little bit more glue though, but it doesn't matter. You can do that. You can always stick it in a sandwich bag and snip a little hole and just squirt it out, and it's kind of like an icing bag. So I got some sort of tip here. I'm not even sure which tip I got. Maybe I'll clean it up later, but I did this a long time ago, so this is from before. But it seems like this is still wet, so that's really good. It's been preserved for quite a while in this container that I have for it. So what I want to do, again, you can always put chocolate sauce on before or after you squirt this on, or you don't have to do it at all. You can do fake strawberry sauce potentially. If you want it to be a little more see-through, you can use a clear glue to mix with it and a little tint of, you might want to do an alcohol ink, like a red alcohol ink, so that will be a little more see-through. And if you want to do little bits or something, you can just probably get little red bits of something and just stick it in to make it look more like real strawberry sauce. You can also do caramel sauce, all sorts of stuff, but I'm just going to do this. So you can test this out on something, but I'm just going to wing it. I like this because it has this really cool look to it. And if you want to, I'm going to add something else, just a little extra. You can add something like this, or you could even add one of these berries. I don't know if I really want to add one of these berries, to be honest. I think I kind of changed my mind on that. So I think I'm just going to add one of those on the side. Isn't that cute? But yeah, you can totally add some sort of chocolate sauce, or you can even add some more sprinkles too if you want to. There's so much you can do, it's crazy. But anyways, I'm going to do these guys. I like to move that around a little bit. A little strawberry. Maybe I'll add a few more jelly beans just for a little extra something. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll add, so I have a jelly bean and it's just not overwhelming. So I'm just going to stick these guys on just for fun. I'm just going to take this and then put a little bit more. There we go. Just gonna adjust it slightly so it looks like it's a little bit more immersed. There we go. But yeah, you can totally add chocolate sauce or strawberry sauce or caramel or something like that to this too. This actually might benefit from it if I drizzled a little bit on. So maybe I'll do that a little later. I'll just drizzle it on the side or something. I also added an extra bear here and another bear here. I don't know, it just felt like it needed a little extra something. I'll see if I can do some sort of chocolate sauce. It just looks like a birthday cake explosion, which is kind of cool. I just like how all the different textures are playing with each other. It just makes things a lot more fun. Yeah, I'm just gonna let this dry. So I'm just gonna focus on this part of the lid. It's still kind of drying a little bit, I've noticed. So I have gloss Mod Podge and then a sandwich bag, and we're gonna bring back the chocolate color, which is acrylic paint, and it's burnt umber. And this is a student grade paint. I'm gonna just make a small amount of what looks like chocolate sauce. Basically, I'm just going to mix this around. You could stir it around and then pour it in. That could also work. But yeah, I'm just gonna mix it around in the bag. So this also works, guys, if you wanted to do this. The glue ends up being a little shiny, so it looks like chocolate sauce because it's gloss finish. But what you can also do if you wanted to is you can add some puff paint to the sides as well. If you don't want to do this method, I have this by Tulip, just a brown. It's a perfect chocolate brown as well. But if you want to make it from scratch, you can definitely do this. So as I said, I just want a little bit. Paper towel in case I need to use this because this can get a little messy. Snip the tiniest hole. I'm gonna throw this out afterwards. That's why I just wanted to do a little amount. This is probably more than I need. So I'm gonna do the smallest little hole right there. Let this drip down a little bit. And it's probably better to put it on before you actually put a bunch of this whipped cream on. But that's okay. But this just gives it a little bit more interest, I feel. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna clean up myself because I got a little on me. I think it just naturally happens. Let this dry and then I'll clean up my area and I'll show you everything once it's dry in the morning. I'll put the box together, hopefully with a little something in it just to show you. So here's one of the brownies that we made on the tree. It's super cute, I really love it. The only thing I don't really love is there's a little bit of what looks like chocolate right here. And then we have this guy over here. This is the other one that we did. So I have 6 in total of these little brownies. So this one my husband made, and he did a little cherry on top. So cute and looks very Christmassy, which I love. I think it's adorable. This one down here is another one that my husband made. A little heart on top. Little Game Boys and Pokemon sprinkles, which I have the clay sprinkles in my stash. This one here is one I made. It looks kind of more wintry, and it's got little penguins on it right here. Little pearls and snowflakes and a little blue jelly bean, which I think is super cute. Right here's the last one. I'll show a better close-up of these guys because it's kind of hard to see in this light. But anyways, it's little Sakura sprinkles and some peppermints and a cute, looks like a gummy bunny on top with a little bit of sugar, but it's all resin. These are clay sprinkles, not a resin bunny. Handmade things mixed with stuff that I've collected over the years. Looks really cute on our Christmas tree. Mostly food stuff on the Christmas tree. There's some quirky stuff in there as well, but I think it looks really fun. Okay, so these are the ones that we made earlier, and then these are the other ones here that I've made in the past with my husband. So I'm decorated 2, my husband decorated 2. So I think he decorated these 2. Those are the ones he decorated, and then I decorated these guys here. So I think I tried to originally make these more Christmassy themed. I think we both tried to do that a little bit. He kind of went more the video game route because he loves video games. He loves putting video game decorations on the tree. But yeah, we just made this together, which was really, really fun. This is his handiwork here. But yeah, I showed him you could just take one of those little wreath berries and you could cut the stem. You can also paint the stem if you want, but I don't think we did that. Yeah, you can paint the stem and then you can just stick it on, or you could just leave it as is. And then yeah, I think I made this because I wanted more of a wintry theme, which I think is really cute. I think that one's really cool. And then there's this guy, which I think is really cute. So I just Sakura sprinkles that I have, and then I added some peppermint around to make it look a little bit more festive. But then I have this little bunny guy, which is also cute for Easter. And you don't even see the safety pins in the whipped cream, right? But it's holding onto the string. So this is just regular string that I used. We didn't use baker's twine this year. We just made the string very long, but you can make it shorter if you'd like to hang on the trees. But yeah, I always want to leave a little bit of slack because I don't want to break these when I put them on the tree. Anyways, these turned out pretty cute, right? Yeah, you can do almost anything. Just use your imagination. Buy a bunch of fake sprinkles, fake little topping things. Go nuts with this sort of thing, right? So fun. I'll show you the box. So yeah, here's the box. I think it looks really, really cute. But yeah, this is not the only way to decorate, as you saw with all the different little decorations I've made. I'm going to insert a few photos of some of the different boxes that I've made over the years for other people. So you can think about the people's aesthetics and what they like when you make that sort of stuff, especially if you know what they like, their aesthetic. So think about what would they like if they were to make a brownie. Another fun thing would be to have an actual brownie party and get a load of how they're decorating their brownie, what they're using, what kind of candies and things that they might be using. Ask them to bring some of their favorite toppings, my favorite candies, favorite toppings to go on a brownie. And that's always a fun way to see how they would decorate a brownie, what is appealing to them, what looks good to them, right? And then you can sort of see, and then you can decorate things dependent on how they do things. But you can always pick up stuff like actual gummy bears, lollipop things, all sorts of different strawberries, cherries, sprinkles, chocolate sauce, caramel sauce, and strawberry sauce, and all that sort of stuff. Honestly, just have fun. You can even have different kinds of icing. It doesn't have to be chocolate icing, different colors of icing to top your brownie with. You can even have blondies at the party, different types of chocolate brownies. You can have plain chocolate chip, ones with nuts if there's no nut allergies. I would say label all the food just to make sure, in case there's people with allergies. If someone can't be around a peanut, I would say avoid that altogether. But yeah, you could do fake chopped nuts too, to put on stuff like this as well. Gold flakes, and you could do chocolate covered strawberries. There's so much stuff that you can do. It's insane. Okay, this is the brownies that we made today, right? Aren't they so cute? Yeah, they look a little bit messy, but that's okay. I think that they're so adorable. Right? So the brownie box doesn't look like it fully lines up, but that's okay because it's supposed to look like a box. So you can give this to people for birthdays, for Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter, anniversaries, weddings, any time of year. Engagements, put little rings in these kind of boxes. They're really good for jewelry. You can even make them look like video game ones. It's so much fun, honestly, to make these things. There's a lot of work. I gave it 3 days. Maybe that's a little overkill, but I gave it 3 days just to make stuff in layers and just let things dry. I left the spackle part for like a whole day in this chocolate sauce, but doesn't it look so good? It honestly looks like something you'd eat. It looks like something I would eat anyways. I don't know about you, but I just got a little star that fell off of here. So if these guys didn't adhere down when you are trying to make them, sometimes that happens. You can glue it back on there. It's not a big deal. Or you can get this sort of glue, or you can get Mod Podge Dimensional Magic. If you want something clear, it's a little bit shiny though. That's an option, okay? As I said, you can put jewelry in here. I don't know if you guys recognize this. This is my rune jewelry that I made a while ago. I made a bunch of rune jewelry for people in my family, and I think I made some for some friends with some clay, and there's a specific varnish. This is actually bakeable clay. This isn't actually an M. This is a rune for E, but it works for me because I'm DIY M, right? So I thought that was kind of funny. So it worked out that way. But yeah, if you guys want to, you can check out that video. I'll try to put a link above and down below for you guys to check out after this video. But yeah, so you can put all sorts of jewelry in there. That's a necklace. You can put rings, cufflinks, anything small. You can put even a small video game cartridge in these kind of boxes. I think that would be a cute idea, and just make the box a video game design. Yeah, I just wanted to show you guys this, and I really, really hope you guys got lots of fun ideas. I hope you guys decide to make this and get kind of creative with it, because honestly, it's just really fun to decorate this stuff. It's fun to put this on your tree, give this as presents for any time of year. You can even make these guys Valentine's. If you have a Valentine's tree or Easter tree or whatever you guys do all year. So it's not just for Christmas time, but pretty much any time of year if you just want to decorate it, which I think is really cute. I like this just because I have a sweets tree for Christmas, as you guys saw. Anyways, I really, really hope you guys like that idea. If you like this, be sure to like and subscribe, and please share the video if you think somebody is going to enjoy this project. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I hope everybody has an awesome day, and Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Happy holidays. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye!